It's the weekend, it's the weekend, it's the start of the weekend at least. It is Friday, January 17th, 2020. Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning to all of you joining me this morning. I want to say good morning to those of you on the GBN Television Facebook page, those of you on the Grenada Broadcasting Network's YouTube channel, those of you tuned into GBN Television, channel 7, 11, and 20, and the loyal listeners of Classic 105.5 and 105.9. Good Friday morning to you. Those of you joining us across the Caribbean, Trinidad and Tobago, St. Lucia, St. Vincent, Antigua, Anguilla, Dominica, Puerto Rico, Guyana, anywhere you are this morning. Those of you internationally, US, Canada, Switzerland, Sweden, Germany, Australia, Spain, London, Brazil, anywhere you are in the world. So happy to have you. So happy you're spending the first hours or the last hours of your Friday with me, or with us, I should say, because it's a whole team of us here, not just at the GBN, but the entire GBN family. Good morning to each and every one of you. It is the 17th day of January. I'm still not sure if January going fast or slow. 17 seemed quick, but I still find January taking long to finish. So I'm in two minds at the moment. I'm in two minds about January 2020. But let me see what's happening. Good morning, everybody. Let's get it started as usual. Y'all know the drill. It's the word of the day. This morning's word of the day is flinty. F-L-I-N-T-Y, flinty. It's an adjective which means unmerciful, unyielding, or obdurate. Flinty, F-L-I-N-T-Y. Flinty is an obvious combination of the noun flint, which is a hard stone, a type of silica, and the adjective suffixed y from Old English. One odd element here is that the derived metaphorical sense unyielding, unmerciful, or obdurate appears in the first half of the 16th century, about 75 years before the literal sense, which means consisting of flint stone. Flinty entered English in the first half of the 16th century. An example of the use of the word: I opened my mouth to deny it, and he forestalled me with one lifted finger, his gaze flinty. Another example: the section's editor, Seymour Peck, a flinty New Yorker, had me write columns on movies, theater, rock music, and television. Word of the day, flinty, F-L-I-N-T-Y, an adjective which means unyielding, unmerciful, or obdurate, like a flinty heart or a flinty stare or a flinty person. Unyielding, unmerciful, or obdurate, flinty. And the thought of the day: difficult roads often lead to beautiful destinations. Difficult roads often lead to beautiful destinations. Sometimes when you need to get to where you're going, the road is not as straight and as smooth and as paved as we would like it to be. But when you do get to the end of that trek, the end of that journey, the end of that hike, the end of that hash, the end of that run, the end of that winding road, it is so gratifying. It is so gratifying to get to where you're going, no matter the trials and tribulations. You don't even think about them, because when you see that what you had to go through to get to where you want to be, nothing matters. Knowing the destination you've gotten to, whether it takes a week, a month, a year, 10 years, no matter the road, when you get to the end, all you can say is, thank you, Jesus. I've gotten to the end. Despite the trials and tribulations, I am here, and it is so beautiful to see. Remember the thought of the day. So don't get discouraged, even if you thought by the 17th of January you'd accomplished something and you still think you're far away from doing that. Don't worry about it. Just remember, difficult roads often lead to beautiful destinations. Yep. 17th of January. Let's see what's happening today. Today it is National Bootleggers Day. Recognizes an era when bootleggers became legendary. January 17th is the birthday of Templeton Rye whiskey bootlegger Al Capone and the son of another bootlegger, Merrill Kerhoff. The earliest use of the term bootlegger was during the 1800s in the Midwest, when one would conceal flasks of liquor in their boot tops when going to trade with Native Americans. Bootleggers Day. It is also Hot Buttered Rum Day. It's hot, it's buttered, it's hot buttered rum. Haven't had it? No worries. January 17th is Hot Buttered Rum Day, and is a perfect opportunity to give it a try. Hot buttered rum is a mixed drink containing rum, butter, hot water or cider, sweetener, and spices such as cinnamon, nutmeg, and cloves. That sounds like something we can make here. Rum, butter. Look for the recipe, eh? Don't just go and throw down a whole pile of butter in some rum. Take all your time. Hot water or cider, maybe apple cider vinegar. That sounds like something somebody could experiment with. Hot Buttered Rum Day. So it's rum, butter, hot water or cider, sweetener, and spices such as cinnamon, nutmeg, and cloves. The Isle of Spice, we have them all. So you make it a nice drink day. That sounds like a Christmas drink. Oh, experiment. I'm not a rum drinker, but I'll experiment. The sweetener might lessen the taste of the rum. Over the weekend, Saturday, that's tomorrow, please the Lord, it's National Thesaurus Day and Winnie the Pooh Day. On Sunday, it is National Popcorn Day. Popcorn Day. We have a lot of popcorn eaters and a lot of popcorn makers in Grenada. So Sunday, please the Lord, make some popcorn and give away. Popcorn Day. Yeah. If it's just you sell it for $2, sell it for $1, because it's Popcorn Day on Sunday, God's willing. Think about it. Let's see some notices. One of the ones that I saw relates to the closure of a portion of road in St. David. I'll read a news release from the Ministry of Infrastructure Development, which was issued yesterday, the 16th. The general public is notified that as a result of damage of a portion of Laurelland Public Road in the area known as Transformer, there are temporary traffic arrangements being implemented. Effective today, no vehicles will be able to access the Windsor Forest Public Road through the area. Hold on, let me restart my music. Through the area known. Where is it? So it just escaped my view. There we go. Through the area known as the Transformer along Laurelland Public Road. All vehicles traveling toward Windsor Forest will now travel along the Pedmata Public Road in the direction of St. Dominic's Roman Catholic School and continue on that concrete road through the Laurelland Herb and Spice Garden onto the intersection with Rush Shop. No parking. As a consequence of this arrangement, no parking will be permitted to park along either side of Laurelland Public Road up to the intersection with Mr. Rush Shop. Motorists are also advised to exercise caution, expect delays. Traffic signs will be erected to assist commuters traveling along the route. The arrangement will be in force until remedial work is done in the affected portion of the road. So the Laurelland Road, known as Transformer, no access to that road, so all vehicles traveling toward Windsor Forest will travel along the Pedmata Public Road in the direction of St. Dominic's Roman Catholic School and continue on that concrete road through Laurelland Herb and Spice Garden onto the intersection with Rush Shop. I can't exactly picture it, to be honest. I'm picturing a piece of road, but I'm not too certain. I saw a video last night of a road that has been, I don't know if it's broken away by itself or by officials, as in, Ministry of Works or so, but there was a car passing, which was a narrow space of road, which was one lane traffic. I believe that is a portion of road that is no longer accessible to members of the public. I don't know what the issue is. I was trying to find out last night, but during the hours of last night, everybody was sleeping and I didn't want to disturb more people. So I'm trying to get some further information as to exactly what caused the road to now be inaccessible to members of the public. I'll leave that there for now. I've gotten some information, but I'll leave that there for now. Another note, the Spice Mass Corporation is assisting our local soca artists. It has announced that there's a news conference called Meet Our Artists that will take place in Trinidad and Tobago next week, Tuesday, in an effort to introduce members of the media and the public to our local soca artists. A number of them have been going down to the Twin Island Republic to promote themselves and their music for the upcoming 2020 Carnival season. The SMC has decided to come on board and bring everybody together into one spot for Meet the Artists. It takes place next week, Tuesday, 5 p.m. at the Consulate Office in Port of Spain. For all the artists that will be in Trinidad that day and those that would be able to make it down there for that day with the intention of promoting themselves and promoting their music. So all soca artists take note. Next week, Tuesday, a media conference called Meet Our Artists takes place 5 p.m. at the Consulate Office in Port of Spain to spread the the knowledge and spread the attendance and the appearance of our soca artists in Trinidad and Tobago for 2020 Carnival in TNT. Should you have any inquiries, you can call the SMC office or the event coordinator or call the Spice Mass Corporation or the event coordinator in TNT for further information. And that would bring us to the end of, just as a note, a matter of fact, Dr. Mary Show. He has reopened his practice opposite Ace on Go Street. There's a building on the opposite side of Ace upstairs. He's operating there until I guess he can get back to a permanent location following the devastating fire almost 2 weeks ago. So those of you, his patients and so on, please take note. He's operating on Go Street in St. George's. It's time for the break. Those of you on television, we bring you the highlights of last evening's newscast. Those of you on radio, the morning edition of news. This is Good Morning Grenada. Keep it locked right here to Classic and the GBN.
This is News at 7. Good evening, I'm Ken Roy-Batiste.
And I'm Beverly Tellisford. Days after a government minister announced that all is well at the Grand Bacolet Juvenile Rehabilitation Center, security remains a burning issue, with 2 of the residents still on the run after escaping weeks ago. Clinical psychologist Dr. Augustine Panchu told GBN today escaping the confines of the center is easy. He wants people to know that the Grand Bacolet facility is not a prison. Chrislina John has the details.
Dr. Panchu was speaking in light of the recent escape of 6 inmates at the juvenile center. 4 of them have been since captured, with 2 still on the run. However, he explains that the facility is not a penal institution. With that being the case, he says it is easy that the residents can climb the fence or easily walk through the gates.
It's not a locked-down facility. So you need to be mindful of that. Prison is a locked facility. The Juvenile Rehabilitation Center is not a locked facility. People are asking, why did they get away? Of course, they can if they want to. What we try to do is to help them to make better choices and see the value of them being in the center so that you could utilize the services so that in future they do not repeat their offenses and or make the same mistakes.
The clinical psychologist says they do have a 24-hour security that patrol the facility for runaways or intruders, but admits that there still is a need. When asked about the center fulfilling its intended purpose of rehabilitation, the clinical psychologist had this to say.
We're trying to inculcate in them a desire and a really wish to be better people, to make better choices. So we give them a lot of psychoeducational material and groups to change their concept about life and the decisions that they make. But in terms of, we do not hold them down. We put them in places for safety and security and all of that. If they become violent, yes. But if they decide really in a group and or an individual to run, there is very little that we can do. We can dissuade them. We can probably try to, hold them, but we're not into putting people on the ground and knocking them down and using weapon against them, because that's not the intention.
Dr. Panchu adds that rehabilitation and treatment is a lengthy process, and not all residents get the full program based on the length of time they have to serve. Meanwhile, he says efforts are being made to have the inmates return to the center.
Police is out looking for them. Secondly, we're hoping that if they're seen in the community, that the community will reach out to the police and or to us so that we can come pick them up. And we're also hoping that if perchance they were to venture to stay with family and or relatives, that these family members and or relatives will be cognizant of the fact that they need to be at the youth center so that they can call the police and or call us so that we can pick them up.
Length of stay at the center can run from 3 months to 3 years. Chrislina John, GBN News.
In more news, the disturbing number of sexual crime cases is now before the High Court. More details in this report.
During the past year, the Royal Grenada Police Force took to the streets of the capital with students of both primary and secondary schools, raising awareness to stamp out child sexual and other forms of abuse. However, this continues to be a bane to society, with sexual crimes topping the list of cases before the High Court. During a press briefing on Wednesday, Acting Commissioner of Police Edwin Martin expressed his grievance on the number of sex crimes committed against minors. The acting commissioner promises to intensify efforts to combat the scourge.
I cannot sit comfortably when adults continue to sexually abuse minors, especially those under the age of 16. I cannot sit comfortably when 84 of 181 cases before our High Court are sexual crimes, many of which involve victims under the age of 16. And currently, 10 of the 26 newly added cases to the list of the High Court are also sexual nature.
The spate of violence in the recent past also came under the spotlight.
To express deep concern about the level of violence in general, and specifically the acts of violence against our women and children. I cannot sit comfortably, ladies and gentlemen, when friends and loved ones cause harm to each other, and in some cases death, over minor matters which should be resolved peacefully. While the RGPF plays a leading role in maintaining law and order, our success and Grenada's success in this regard requires the cooperation of the general public. Notwithstanding the progress made, there is much to be done.
The acting commissioner spoke of plans to enhance the Carry Secure police records and information management system, strengthening of community policing programs, formalizing the CCTV Safer Cities initiative, the final recruitment of 30 traffic wardens, strengthening of the Coast Guard, and distribution of medals and ribbons to officers for good conduct and long service. Chrislina John, GBN News.
Have you received your flu shot? Well, it's not too late. Health officials continue to encourage people to get vaccinated and avoid the risks associated with the influenza. That includes the development of infections like pneumonia, which can lead to hospitalization. The influenza vaccine can also significantly reduce the spread of the virus. Rina Per has been speaking to the Chief Medical Officer at the Ministry of Health, who says he's encouraged by the number of people who have received their shots. He has also expressed optimism that the country will soon see a decrease in the number of people coming down with the flu. We get this report in this week's GBN Health.
Chief Medical Officer within the Ministry of Health, Francis Martin, says that the feedback received from the general public on getting the influenza flu shot is positive and welcoming. The CMO explains that while he does not have an exact number, businesses are inquiring on where workers can get the shots.
Overall, we have increased interest in receiving the vaccinations, especially in the south of the island. There have been interest from business organizations and from the general public with regards to uptake of the influenza vaccine.
Dr. Martin explained that while it takes 3 or more weeks for the vaccine to take its full effects, he anticipates a decrease in the flu cases in the coming months.
Generally, we advise people to take the vaccine early in the year for the flu seasons, which is generally at the end of the year, September to December or so. So we expect that in the coming months, we're going to have a decrease of the upper respiratory tract infection. But that being said, we have seen some variation in terms of the numbers during the month of December.
Dr. Martin encourages everyone who is yet to receive the influenza vaccination to do so as soon as possible.
Upper respiratory tract infections and influenza is one of the vaccine-preventable diseases around the world. It has been shown to be very effective in keeping people away from it, from the infections. I myself have had the vaccine earlier this year, so I'm really encouraging people to take advantage of the opportunity to prevent yourself from getting these viruses.
For GBN News, I am Rena Pear reporting.
Hello again. The implementation rate of government's projects can determine the assistance they can get from regional and international countries and organizations. This point was pushed by Minister with responsibility for implementation, Gregory Bowen, during the opening ceremony for Project Implementation Symposium earlier today. Cherry and Blackman-Stephen has this report.
Government is looking for answers to address the country's implementation of projects. This is the focus of a two-day project implementation symposium taking place at the Grenada Trade Center Annex. Minister with responsibility for implementation Gregory Bowen, during the opening ceremony earlier today, stressed the importance of submitting reports on time and meeting all deadlines. He explained the seriousness of this following a recent international meeting he attended when he was asked to validate government's commitment.
I've just returned from the 2020 IRENA Assembly, International Renewable Energy Agency. And in that meeting, I was asked to validate the data that by the year 2030, that's what they had on file, all electricity in Grenada will be generated by renewable sources. Also, in their data bank, and I'm talking about the developed countries, those who fund, those who give monies to the climate fund, we have there that by the year 2030, all the transport sector will be using renewable resources. And as a minister, I was asked, is this true?
Minister Bowen dropped the responsibility at the feet of the Ministry of Information.
The responsibility rests, therefore, on the Ministry of Information to look at all the data with respect to implementation going out there. We said by 2020, we should have 25% renewable energy in electricity. Grenlec reports, and this is not the government, you know, I had to validate. You see the responsibility of the government of the day? Grenlec report is that we have 6% of electricity generated through renewables. 3% by Grenlec itself, and the next 3% by people, consumers, who put solar panels on their roof. Is that true? Well, there may be reasons for it, but I could not say categorically that that is true.
Accountant General Quinta Charles says the symposium is both timely and necessary as real solutions need to be found to their implementation challenges.
Our rate of implementation of the PSIP was below 50%. In other words, the government was only able to spend 50% of what it had budgeted to spend on its capital projects. This is a major concern, given its negative impacts and implications for job creation and for the overall growth and sustainable development of our country. Therefore, we are kicking off the year tackling this problem head-on. We have no other choice.
Cherry and Blackman-Stephen, GBN News.
The Grenada Broadcasting Network continues to stand on its slogan, "With you anywhere, everywhere," as the company has officially launched its Is a Hotline promotion. One lucky winner and guest will get the opportunity to experience Trinidad Carnival 2020 free of charge. Akisha Felix has more.
For yet another year, some Grenadian soca artists are flying the flag in neighboring Trinidad and Tobago as our very own Hollis Map, Mr. Killer, defends its international Soca Monarch title. As a result, the Grenada Broadcasting Network continues to keep the public abreast of what's happening surrounding Trinidad's Carnival 2020. On Thursday, Administrative Assistant Janelle Senbernard McDonald officially launched the GBN's Is a Hotline promotion.
Yes, Akisha. So it's a very exciting time here for us at the GBN. For Grenada as a whole, we have the international soca monarch defending his crown, and we wanted to send, a lot of people to Trinidad to support, because the support on the ground is critical, especially when you're defending. But with this promotion, we're going to be sending one winner, expenses paid, travel, tickets to some of the hottest events in Trinidad, and that winner is getting to go along with a guest.
McDonald explained the procedures to be eligible for this promotion.
It's pretty simple. Firstly, the first thing you have to be doing is listening to Hot 98, 98.5, 98.7. Listen to the station. There's a song that you're going to be hearing every day. And every day, we're giving people across Grenada, Carriacou, and Petit Martinique a chance to enter. So you listen out for the song first. Once you hear the song, you just call the number 435-7517. You call, the announcer is going to ask you a simple question. It's going to be about anything. It could be about Carnival. It could be about independence. It could be about Hot 98. It could be about our sponsors. So you have to be listening to the station. So you listen to the station, you hear the song there, you call in, you answer correctly, and your name is in for a chance to win. Pretty simple.
She added that the Is a Hotline promotion is sponsor-friendly, and she welcomes other businesses to come on board, as the GBN has the exclusive rights for Grenada to broadcast the ISM 2020.
The sponsors who come on to the hot promotion for Trinidad Carnival, they will also be benefiting from the live broadcast of the Soca Monarch on GBN television, because we'll be showing that live as well. So get your posses together, get your crews together. It's going to be a live, when we represent it, it's a party. And GBN will be having exclusive rights for Grenada, so we'll be showing the Soca Monarch on television and of course on Hot 98. So it's like a twofer for the sponsors, so it's a really fantastic promotion to get your brands associated with.
The GBN would also be launching a similar promotion for Kayak Mass 2020, together with live coverage from Queen Show to Last Lap Tuesday. Akisha Felix for GBN News.
Other news, the fire department of the Royal Grenada Police Force continues to come under scrutiny after the recent spate of fires. One of the questions being asked is the fire department adequately equipped to deal with fires? Well, Acting Commissioner of Police Edwin Martin responds.
Where the question is going, I will be the first to say no. The fire department is not adequately resourced, and certainly we do need critically some assistance to lift the standard of the fire department. The guys are doing well in the area and the performance of the duties given their capabilities, but certainly we need to relook how greater support can be given to enhance the capability of that department. But
the number of fire hydrants available and the servicing of equipment also came under questioning. While Commissioner Martin believes a study must be undertaken, the fire chief, Assistant Superintendent of Police Glenroy Corian, was a bit more straightforward with his response.
Yes, hydrants are critical. We treat and respond to hydrants as a very critical support to the fire mechanism. As a matter of fact, hydrants assist with quick refilling, and we can also connect into hydrants to use them for fire suppression activities as well. And hence the reason why we have regular monthly inspections to ensure that they are maintained as best as can be, so to support our operations. Whether or not we have an adequate amount to support, we will need to study that. But certainly what is capable is that all our fire appliances carry extra hose on them, so that if we need to connect to a hydrant at a distance, you're coupling the hoses, you're connecting to it, and you feed from it.
Say definitely we need more hydrants within the town to do our operation. Development taking place, people, business around, homes around, and we need more hydrants.
Speaking of ladders, ASP Glenroy Corian said the department is equipped. However, there is a need for trucks equipped with ladders for some heights. At present, there are 6 fire tenders that service the island. The St. George's fire tender has the capacity to hold 1,800 gallons of water.
The search continues for 78-year-old Cecilia Mungo of Mardigras and David. Mungo left her home on Tuesday, 7th January 2020 and has not since returned. She is approximately 5 feet 3 inches in height, medium built and dark in complexion. Anyone seeing Cecilia Mungo or has any information about her whereabouts is asked to contact St. Paul's Police Station at 440-3224, CID at 440-3921, Police Emergency at 911, Police Hotline at 444-1958, or the nearest police station.
Welcome back to the newscast. A ceremony was held to commemorate Grenada and the People's Republic of China's 15th anniversary of successful bilateral relations at the Radisson Grenada Beach Resort on Tuesday night. Akeisha Felix tells us more.
Since January 2005, the two countries have re-established a relationship. With major economic and technical cooperation achieved, enormous benefits to the two countries were attained. In his address at Tuesday's ceremony, Ambassador of the People's Republic of China to Grenada, Zhao Yongshen, expressed that after 15 years of a prosperous relationship, he anticipates pushing the bilateral relations between the two countries to new heights.
I am convinced that we will be able to make history with our mutually beneficial cooperation and contribute more to the people's welfare, regional peace, development, and win-win cooperation, as well as community with a shared future for mankind. Now, please allow me to propose a task to the smooth development of China-Grenada relations over the past 15 years.
Minister for Foreign Affairs Peter David expressed satisfaction in the many achievements the relationship between the two countries has generated.
These relations are increasingly progressive and respectful, and it is a shining example of the correctness and constructive relations between nations, even the very large and the very small. It is clear that the challenges that the world community face can only be successfully tackled through the cooperation among nations and through a renewed commitment.
Among the benefits derived from the bilateral relationship are the China Aid National Cricket Stadium and the Athletic Stadium, the low-income housing projects, nearly 100 Grenadian students completing undergraduate or postgraduate studies in China, and short-term skills training courses for Grenadians in China. Akeisha Felix for GBN News.
At the ceremony of Grenada and the People's Republic of China's 15th anniversary as allies, Minister for Foreign Affairs Peter David highlighted that the importance of multilateralism is often overlooked, but is an important factor in the growth and development of nations, small and large. The minister explained that countries working together toward achieving common goals and eliminating shared challenges is essential for improvement.
It is clear that the challenges that the world community face can only be successfully tackled through the cooperation among nations and through a renewed commitment to multilateralism. And these are principles that we may otherwise all take for granted, except that recent history and trends have shown that they need to be restated, reaffirmed, and recommitted to. Issues relating to the world economic order, international security, and the advancement of peace, and tackling climate change can only be successful through the commitment of each nation and through the respect of international law and norms. In this,
Minister David went on to say that China and Grenada's relationship is an excellent example of successful bilateralism.
In this regard, China has been a shining example. Grenada is pleased that the People's Republic of China has continued to be a good faith partner and a force for good in seeking to maintain a world order that respects the right of peoples in all regions to carve their own destinies. Through the years, we have had many areas of cooperation, some which I will mention here shortly. But it must be said that our people-to-people ties are the best part of these relations.
Valley Pharmacy offers both wholesale and retail pharmaceutical and over-the-counter products. We have the most competitive and affordable prices. We are the agents for Vit Plus multivitamin for healthy everyday lifestyle and Sanatogen powder. Hills and Valley Pharmacy supplies the best quality, name brand clinical products such as Rescue Oil, Bio Oil, Neutrogena, Aveeno, and Clarisil. We offer the most convenient opening hours. Our telephone numbers are 435-6904 or 6903. Remember, at Hills and Valley Pharmacy, your health is our business. We care.
Now open, Hills and Valley Medicare Center, your one-stop for medical supplies, massage therapy, physiotherapy, and an in-house physician. At Hills and Valley, your health is our business.
Washing cleaner than ever. Oh mama, oi, oh mama, oi. In every household, must have it, oi. Highly effective, stain removal, lemon freshness, antibacterial washing powder. Fresh and clean, fresh and clean. When I put on me clothes, me must win. When I wash me clothes, no other detergent could ever wash me clothes like this.
Now buy 3 bottles of Place dishwashing liquid for only $8. Available at Best for Less Supermarket, Eat Fresh Supermarket, M&C Jones Supermarket, Hope Pride Supermarket, The Food Fairs, Carenage and Grandance, Roberts Enterprise, Springs Food Mart, and Charlo Supermarket.
Other Place products available: hand sanitizer, fabric softener, hand washing liquid, dishwashing liquid, and toilet cleaners. Distributed by Fortune Foods Company Limited, Tempe St. George.
Escomar Variety Chain. Come and shop, 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 shop. We got mats, rugs, curtains, appliances at all our stores. A wide range of products will meet your heart's desire. So come to Escomar, and remember, we are located at Melville Street, St. George's, opposite the bus terminal, Wall Street, St. George's, and at our newest location at the Lansapines Junction, Grandance. Our numbers are 232-7447, 232-4774, or 435-7447.
Carrie can't seem to catch a wink and is craving a catnap. Meanwhile, Mary marvels at the majesty of her Monday morning, masterfully making multiple meals for many miners, mindfully making the most of every moment, making ready to move mountains, and mustering the masses to march out the door on time. Concurrently, Carrie clumsily corrals the kids to carry on to class, as Mary muses on memories of purchasing her marvelous mattress. Your best day starts tonight with a Sleep On It mattress from Quartz.
Get Rubigas. Get cooking. Rubigas, clean, safe, and reliable LPG is the perfect solution for your commercial and everyday needs. For cooking at home or barbecuing, choose Rubigas LPG cylinders. Available in a variety of sizes from 20 to 100 pound cylinders. Rubigas LPG, clean, safe, reliable. Are you cooking with Rubigas?
Get Rubis, get going.
It's detox time again at Nirvana Natural Health Clinic Detox Center. The festive season is over, so let's start 2020 looking and feeling like a boss with our many body cleansing options. Purchase detox products as low as $50. Purchase detox combo packs as low as $100. Receive 10% off on all in-house colonic irrigation treatment. Take control of your health now. Don't delay. Call us on 231-6642, 418-7115, or 449-7753. We are located in Belmont St. George's, close to the Fall Edge area. These offers are valid from January to March or while stocks last. Nirvana Natural Health Clinic Detox Center. Detox your way to health.
I'm reaching my dreams with GOT. They're the ones for me. I'm reaching my dreams with GOT. They're the ones for me. Since 1983, they've been serving the country, and we like all their financing, giving the people what they want, what they need, what they love. Come and join the family that's here for you all the way, from birth to graduation, your first job to your home and your car through your golden years.
The GT Credit Union has been actively supporting nation building through its many sponsorships and the programs including financial literacy quiz, Pass the Torch Calypso program, junior cooperatives in secondary schools, CPEA, and the TAMCC grants. The credit union has helped many people make their dreams come true. Let them help you with yours. You don't have to be a teacher to be a member. So what are you waiting for?
GUT Credit Union, it's where you belong.
Whenever we're faced with difficulties, we find comfort in those we know and trust. This is especially true when a loved one has died.
Welcome to Otway Bailey Funeral Home.
For over 100 years, Otway Bailey Funeral Home has helped families celebrate the lives of their loved ones with compassion and dignity. Our affordability, attention to detail, warm and caring staff has contributed us being the funeral home of choice for official and state funerals. We treat you as we would treat our own family. All of our services are designed to help you get through one of the most personal and challenging stages of life, whether it's planning a funeral, joining our burial society, or pre-arrangements. You can be assured of the Otway Bailey commitment to consistently provide the most caring and professional service possible with the best options and price. So call us 440-2558 or visit our website, otwaybaileyfuneralhome.org.
At Otway Bailey, we offer the perfect tribute any family can afford.
Once upon a time, we shopped at Wonderland, then Neverland. But we're all grown up now and no longer believe in fairy tales. So now we just shop at Shoes R Us. At Shoes R Us, we stock the latest in shoes, tops, and jeans for the fashion-conscious lady. We also carry colognes and much, much more. And for the modern trendy male, we have the latest brand-name shoes and sneakers, Converse, Reebok, Nike, K-Swiss, Puma, and much more. So check us out at our two convenient locations, Melville Street in St. George and Ben Jones Street in Granville. At Shoes R Us, we say, come shop with us.
You know, one day I woke up and, they painted a set of pedestrian crossing all along the streets. Nobody told us how to use that thing properly.
I know how.
You're serious?
Every safe, good driver knows about these things. As a driver, you have to be very attentive. You know you're coming up close to a pedestrian cross, you start slowing down immediately, looking to see if there's any pedestrian on the side getting ready to cross. If there is, you stop on the line that is a certain distance before the crosswalk. Then you would see the pedestrian put their hands out, looking directly at you, indicating that they are going to cross. And only when you have come to a complete stop, that is when they will quickly and safely cross to the other side. And then you continue happily on your journey.
Stop, look, hand out, eye contact, wait for pedestrian to cross. Then you happily continue on your journey. This message is brought to you by this group of insurance companies, the Traffic Advisory Body, and the Traffic Department.
How going on, boy?
Hey, good old things.
Hey, Daisy.
Yeah.
Boy, in line, boy. Your house looking a real good day.
Boy, it's thanks to the hard-working and professional staff at the Housing Authority of Grenada. They handled me real nice. They did my plan, they did the construction, and I didn't even have to worry about a thing. They were there with me every step of the way, supervising the job, asking me about my concerns, giving me feedback as the house took shape. They were there from start to finish, and even put the keys in the palm of my hand. I give them an A++ for customer service.
Oh, it's people from housing bad, boy.
Boy, not bad. Excellent. If you're thinking about constructing your home, why not consult the Housing Authority of Grenada? You could visit them right down in the Sandino complex, or give them a call, 440-1015 or 440-1016. Or check out their website, hag473.com. They go handle you. They go jog your blocks, they go draw your plan, they go tote your materials. Hey man, where you going? The Housing Authority of Grenada is your choice for affordable housing and a stress-free construction experience.
Make no excuse. Claim those fitness goals with a little help from Quartz. Save big on home fitness equipment when you shop with up to 15% off. Plus, get a chance to win a free spin bike. Shop today and pay nothing until March with Quartz Ready Finance. Make no excuses. Shop and win. Only at Quartz. Bringing value home. Conditions apply.
It's detox time again at Nirvana Natural Health Clinic Detox Center. The festive season is over, so let's start 2020 looking and feeling like a boss with our many body cleansing options. Purchase detox products as low as $50. Purchase detox combo packs as low as $100. Receive 10% off on all in-house colonic irrigation treatments. Take control of your health now. Don't delay. Call us on 231-6642, 418-7115, or 449-7753. We are located in Belmont St. George's, close to the Fall Edge area. These offers are valid from January to March or while stocks last. Nirvana Natural Health Clinic Detox Center. Detox your way to health.
No, that's not how you cross the pedestrian crossing.
Really? One day I just woke up and I saw pedestrians.
Alrighty, welcome back to Good Morning Grenada. It is 21 and a half minutes after 7 this morning. And this morning we're talking one of the subjects that I like to spread information about as it relates to the ban on plastic. I have in studio with me the communication specialist at the World Bank, Richard Beadle, and he's working along with a team that is getting ready to implement the ban on plastics here in Grenada, which takes effect February 1st.
1st of February.
1st of February,
yes.
2020. And today begins 15 days.
The 15-day countdown.
Good morning.
Yes. Good morning. Good
How
morning.
are you?
I am doing wonderful. It's wonderful to be here. Good morning to all the viewers and listeners.
Thank you so much. So we're starting the 15-day countdown.
Something really, really incredible is happening in Grenada in 15 days, and I hope we're all ready for it. I'm excited about it because you could call me an environmental advocate. And, you know, this move by the Ministry of Climate Resilience is a really bold and progressive move, you know, joining in the movement worldwide to fight against plastic pollution. And so in 15 days from today, you know, we're calling it the countdown to plastic-free shopping in Grenada, and it's really exciting for me to talk about that.
I like the idea too, knowing that it's actually taking place. It's not just a talk shop; it's actually putting it into action.
Absolutely. You know, the truth is that with environmental matters, it's always a feeling that the powers that be don't do enough and don't move quickly enough. Mm-hmm. As I've had an opportunity to work together with the Minister of Climate Resilience and his team in environment, there are so many different parts of the puzzle that have to be put together. You know, we have the retailers, the shoppers, the importers, customs, and, you know, the laws that have to be put in place. And then you have the individual users who, you know, use plastic. Plastic is a very good resource, but what has happened over the decades is that, you know, across the world we have abused it. We have become addicted to it in our lives, and it is affecting so many different things. And now it has become plastic pollution, especially in our oceans, has become a major, major challenge identified worldwide. And with the things that we talk about relating to environmental sustainability, sometimes we can look at it from afar. We don't see it as close to home, but it is very, very close to home. You know,
most definitely.
Online recently, Forbes magazine put out some statistics that, you know, in the Caribbean, 30 of the 30 biggest plastic polluters per capita, 10 of them are from the Caribbean. So that's not good news.
No, it's not.
When you look at the plastics in our oceans, in our Caribbean waters. And that's why, you know, January 1st, this year, the beginning of this year, first couple of months, 7 islands in the Caribbean are banning single-use plastics in some form or fashion. And so, you know, we're excited that Grenada is actually leading the way in the Eastern Caribbean on this front.
Right. So with the 15 days countdown, what takes place between now, January 17th, and February 1st?
Well, it's just getting the public to be excited about this. You know, there are always going to be resistance in some quarters. But there are so many people. Right now, when you're going into the supermarkets, it's about, my own evaluation, about 50-50 people who are, some still taking plastic bags. Some people are walking with their durable, reusable plastic bags, their shopping bags. And that's a message. We're saying, don't wait for the date. That has been our slogan, and it's going to be coming out in earnest over the next 15 days. Don't wait for the right time to do the right thing. Do it today. And, you know, it's just about re-educating our consciences and us as a people taking responsibility. Now, this has nothing to do with whether or not we support what the government is doing. When I found out that plastic, you know, microplastics were already identified in the meat of fish and animals in Grenadian, right here, that means we are consuming plastic. And it has detrimental effects. We can talk about some of those things during the time of this program, but, you know, it has detrimental effects worldwide, but it's right here. And so a ban on single-use plastics is just one step. You know, the last year there was a ban on styrofoam, and it was very effective. And, you know, there was some kickback, but we have seen less of that. Some of this is driven by what's happening in our landfill. We have limited landfill space, and things are getting into the ocean, and it's just not a sustainable way to live. So if we change our habits, you know, we will go a long way in protecting our own, you know, health, or the public health, and protecting our families. So it comes down to individual choice. And so, you know, there's going to be lots of you know, activities. The environmental groups are really excited about it. You know, groups like G3, even groups like the Hashers. You know, we're going to have some other. I don't want to let the cat out of the bag.
Fair enough.
You know, but the whole point is getting people to remember to take their bags shopping, their own bags, but also choosing to refuse plastic. You know, choosing, when you get to the shop, choose to refuse plastic. You know, everywhere you could go, because there's so many loopholes to fill. You know, what bags are banned, which ones are not banned, why this size and that size. But the message is, if we can individually choose to refuse plastic as much as possible, and then if you do have plastic, reuse it as much as possible. We're trying to limit the amount of plastic that gets into our landfill. And, you know, eventually, it's all going to go. The majority of it is going to go. It's a matter of the legislation. and it's all happening. It's not. Some people will ask the questions. Well, why this type of plastic bag versus that type? Why this size? And there are other sizes. It's all going to go. It's just a matter of picking, the low hanging fruit, taking it one step at a time. And, some major announcements. I can't speak for the Ministry of Climate Resilience, but some major announcements are going to come out over the next, couple of weeks and months and years about what's going to be happening as far as banning plastics and what Grenada's vision is. And it's a bold initiative.
Agreed.
And I'm really, really excited about, this 15-day countdown.
Right. You mentioned picking the low-hanging fruits. What are some of the specific plastic bags that you're starting with before we do the complete eradication?
Right. So on the legislation, it's the Biodegradable Waste Control Act, and really we're trying to limit the number of plastic that gets into our landfill, as well as the plastics that become litter. It's very unsightly, and the target were shopping bags. Mm-hmm. And, we've heard this branded about single-use handle plastic bags. So shopping bags that people go into supermarkets and to get food in restaurants, no longer from February 1st, no longer will anyone be able to sell you food in a plastic bag, and a plastic bag with a handle. Right. So that's what the law says, right? This specific bag. Now, you do have some, we call them the cheaters. We're trying to find ways around it. Right. Okay, so if we said, the government said bags without handles or bags of this size, they would go one size up or one size down.
Yeah.
Right. So what we're trying to do is get the support of the Grenadian public to refuse plastic in general, right? Because there is an approach to make sure that people aren't put out. So there's a ban date on importation. As many of the importers who had already made orders, right? The government made sure to find out what was already on the way, and then after that date, put a ban in place.
Right.
So nobody would be, if they follow along with what's happening and support what's happening, nobody would be put out, right? And then there was a 6-month window to December 1st to allow the people who wholesale these to get them
off
their shelves and into the retailers.
Right.
And then from there was another window given for them to get rid of as much of them as possible that they have to hand out at checkpoint cashiers and so on, right? So what's happened is that there are some people who are, because we're trying to, we're Caribbean people, we're always trying to come under the radar and get some in, and because it's a little bit inconvenient. Mm-hmm. So people are trying, is this one versus that one? Which one can I bring in? So on. The truth is they're all eventually going to get cut. So don't invest in plastic. If you're a business person, start thinking of the alternatives. We have to go where, where the world is going, where statistics are showing us where we need to go.
Right.
And so let us choose to refuse plastic. Carry your own reusable shopping bag, and just reuse and recycle plastic as much as possible, because I don't want the landfill in my backyard.
Facts.
I don't want the plastic in my food. So, don't wait for the date. Walk with your reusable shopping bags now. 15 days to plastic-free shopping in Grenada.
Speaking of walking with you, just yesterday I saw a notice on social media from a local supermarket saying that effective, I believe it's today, they're not giving out any more plastic bags. So walk with your reusable bags, and they have some on sale as well.
Absolutely.
Is that the general consensus from local retailers, supermarkets, stores in town, and so to do that? Have they all been on board with the initiative?
I believe that most have been. There has been, from my own observation, there has been some amount of concern about whether or not they will turn away their customers, whether or not they will lose customers. The truth is, public opinion is going to change. It's going to swing in the direction towards getting rid of plastics. You know, there are lots of groups who have been, for example, G3. I like to talk about them because, you know, their focus is anti-litter, but they've been talking about just, you know, how they can support the initiatives of the government to try to reduce unsightly garbage, and just how they can partner with, you know, what's happening to try to change people's mindsets. And these groups have been somewhat disenfranchised, or, you know, just not feeling like they're getting anywhere. But with these bans, you know, the move to eradicate these plastics, right? These groups are getting bolder, you know, the young people, you know, CYEN and other groups, which, you know, they get together, they clean up the beaches, and they're tired of seeing it there. And now they're seeing the government put their money where their mouth is and step boldly forward and face the business people and face the population and say, hey, we're going to take the lead on this. But the population, it's our responsibility. It's individuals. I need to choose to refuse plastics, whether it has a handle, whether it doesn't. And if there's a supermarket that has plastic bags being handed out, I can decide whether I take that plastic bag or not. And I started that practice. And, you know, after initially it was a little inconvenient. I have to remember the reusable bags.
Right.
You know, I leave them in the car. I'm like, oh no, I have to run back out and get them. I leave them at home. And okay, so I have to purchase one or walk with my things in my hand. But I think it's a really important lesson, especially to teach our kids. So, you know, we've been going around to some schools together with the Solid Waste Authority, and the kids already have this information. You know, the kids already know. They already know, you know, we should reuse and, you know, and we should refuse plastics and we need to recycle. But then they want to see the examples in their own homes so that their habits don't become what made us get to this place.
Right.
And if we look at world statistics, you know, one of the things that I found out recently is that, you know, fertility rates worldwide have gone down over the last couple of centuries, especially with men. And it has to do with microplastics in the body. We're actually killing ourselves because of our addiction to plastic. We really need to think about what plastics do and how our individual choices can really impact on our future. And this initiative by the Ministry of Climate Resilience is fabulous. And so, you know, I'm excited. 15 days to plastic-free shopping. Yeah, there will be some supermarkets that, you know, try to go under the radar, try to, well, you know, okay, because the law specifically speaks to a particular type of bag and they might bring in another type of bag. But if, as consumers, we say no to plastic, then, you know, they'll get rid of them.
Choice, right.
Right.
So what about the supermarkets or the other stores that may still have, after February 1st, I still have plastic bags on my hands? What happens to those?
Right. So the law is clear. I think the legislation is in place, and certain items will be from that date. It will be illegal. And I'm sure that the law has their way of dealing with those things, and so that's why, you know, this supermarket that you mentioned, you know, some are really progressive. We're not trying to go down to the wire. We're not waiting. We're not trying to bring in extra to make sure that we have enough. We're just saying, you know what, we're expecting our customers to be responsible, to be socially responsible. We're expecting our customers to be sustainable. This is where we're very progressive. So supermarkets that are doing that, hats off to you. You're very progressive. And people will start to choose to shop at places that are progressive and that are thinking of you health-wise. The supermarkets are not trying to make money off of reusable bags. No, they're trying to give us the tools that we need. And if you don't have your own, you can get one. This is happening all over the world.
A lot of companies have been distributing some, though.
There are lots of reusable bags out there.
Available, yeah.
Yes, and one of the things that's going to be happening, some environmental groups are going to be joining in the next couple of weekends. You might see some out at supermarkets in the the car parking lots and on entrances, reminding people, do you have your bag? Okay.
Bags, right.
Okay, here's a bag. Take this bag. Refuse the plastic inside. You don't have to wait until February 1st.
Right.
We have to get into the habit of doing it right now.
I see a lot, should I say a lot, but a few boxes, food boxes, as well as plastic bags that say biodegradable. Are they really biodegradable, or they just have that on there?
That's a very, very good question. So biodegradable is a really wide range of products. Biodegradable is, whether or not the product in certain conditions, humidity, heat, certain enzymes will eventually break down, right? So scientifically speaking, if something says it's oxy-biodegradable or, 100% degradable, we see all kinds of things popping up. For the intents and purposes of the legislation in Grenada, these are not biodegradable, right? Scientifically, the situation is that we don't have the conditions in our landfill to break down these types of products, right?
Okay.
So in certain conditions, they will be biodegradable.
Okay.
Right. So I'm not a scientist.
Those conditions are not.
Those conditions,
okay.
In layman's terms, those conditions don't exist in our landfill. And so it's ridiculous to bring it in, and because someone sticks a label on it to say
it'll break down.
It'll break down. Mm-hmm. So what the government has done is they're setting up a certificate of compliance. And eventually, this might become mandatory. If you're importing something in a particular range of products, you have to check with the government and check with the Ministry of Environment, and they'll let you know, based on the specifications, whether or not this is allowed or not. And just as long as we keep within the parameters of what is useful here. We can't take what's happening in Barbados or Trinidad or, in the UK, because we have our own conditions here in Grenada. Right? And so the best thing to do is to not try to find a biodegradable plastic bag. Just get a reusable bag that's not plastic, and we're fine.
That's a good point, because I know that you've explained it how you explained it. It doesn't apply to us.
Yes, it doesn't. It doesn't apply to us.
So now that makes me feel a kind of way with those that there are cups that say biodegradable, plastic bags, the food boxes. No, that just have me.
Right. So here's the thing. I want to say this to all our Grenadians. I wasn't born here. There are some people who will listen, hear my accent, and say, well, what do you have to say? You're not from here. I love Grenada. Grenada is a wonderful place.
How long you've been here?
I've been here now from 2012.
Okay.
Right.
That's enough.
Yes, that's enough time.
You're Grenadian.
I'm Grenadian,
exactly.
Right? I declare it today. I'm Grenadian, right? I was born in Jamaica, but my beautiful daughter Riley was born here, and I have two other older children who are still preteens, but live here. My family lives here. Grenada is wonderful, right? Where I grew up, we abused so much of the environment. Our landfill here is so different from. I don't even call it a landfill. When I grew up in Kingston, it's more of a dump. And, often there are fires there. And whenever there's a fire, whether it started naturally or somebody set a fire trying to... First of all, it's so close to where everyone lives.
Right.
And secondly, right in the corporate area, right in Kingston, there'd be this cloudy haze of pollution for days hanging over the city. People getting asthma attacks and, sinus and respiratory problems because of what's happening in the landfill. I live in a place like Grenada. I don't want to see Grenada go down that road. And the truth is, the landfill in Perseverance just has a couple of years of space, less than 10 years. And we can find out from the Solid Waste Management Authority.
Yeah, I spoke to them, they said it was less than 5.
Less than 5 years, right? And the only way to manage this properly is to reduce the amount of waste that goes in. And those bio, the oxy, all these range of alternatives that people are trying to bring in, don't invest in that, because the government is going to get to it. It's a part of the bigger plan. And I can't speak for the Ministry of Climate Resilience, but being on the inside track, I know it's a part of a bigger plan. And eventually, all of it is going to be cut. On March 1st, they're starting the process with disposable utensils. So people say, they banned the styrofoam. So what about the cups and the forks? And it's coming. It's on March 1st, there's going to be a ban on importation. And then there's going to be a ban on the wholesale of it. And, it's going to happen. It's all going to happen.
Everything won't happen
Everything won't happen at the same time. The government is working together with, the people who will impact the most, and trying to make sure that nobody loses out while being socially responsible for the health of the nation. And so, we just need to get on board. And in 15 days... just mark it down. 15 days from now, plastic-free shopping in Grenada. It's exciting times.
I agree. Yeah, I can see the excitement on your face. Let's take a quick break and come back inside. This is Good Morning Grenada. Keep it locked right here to Classic and the GBN.
That's not how you cross the pedestrian crossing.
Really? One day I just woke up and I saw pedestrian crosswalks on the road. No one really showed me how to use them properly.
Well, this is how it's done. You never cross before doing these things. They might save your life. First, when you get to the crosswalk, you stop. You look left, you look right. If there's a vehicle coming, you put your hand out, making eye contact with the driver, indicating that you want to cross. And only when the vehicle comes to a complete stop, you quickly cross to the other side.
Stop, look, hand out, eye contact. Wait for pedestrian to cross to the other side, then you happily continue on your journey. This message is brought to you by this group of insurance companies, the Traffic Advisory Body, and the Traffic Department.
See it first on GBN. All the stories, from politics to industrial unrest. Tourism.
Light it up. Light it up.
Station to Grenada.
Entertainment. Sports and culture.
Great shot there of Anderson Peters from Grenada, the Commonwealth Games bronze medalist.
See more on GBN, your most credible source for information. Nightly at 7.
EC Polymer Notes, our new money.
Here's how you can detect genuine EC polymer notes. Feel. Polymer notes feel smoother than the material from which paper notes are made. Also, the front of each note has raised bumps at the top left-hand corner. These bumps form shapes that are familiar to you. Look. Look for the clear window at the front and back of each note. This window allows you to see through the notes. If you hold the notes up to the light, you'll see the value of the note in an area of plain
Welcome back to Good Morning Grenada. It is 12 minutes onto the hour of 8 o'clock. You should be heading out the door to get to work on time this morning. This morning I have in studio with me the communications specialist at the World Bank, Richard Beadle, and we're talking about 15 days countdown to the plastic-free shopping effective February 1st, 2020.
Yes.
One of the things that or one of the concerns from members of the public has to do with garbage bags.
Yes.
They say it is culture for black people, but I just figure it's just culture to use plastic bags as garbage bags.
Right.
What would happen in that instance? How do we throw away our waste?
Right. That is a very, very good question. I would defer to my grandmother. What did we do before? This is recent culture. Right? This is very, very recent culture. I remember growing up where plastic bags weren't as abused as they are today.
Okay.
First of all, the plastic bags, I don't know if you can remember, but the plastic bags that we had growing up were not, you go into the supermarket and you walk out with a dozen. You might have gotten 2. They were more durable, and, we reused them. You got one bag, you probably reinforce it with another one, and you took it home. How did we get rid of our garbage then? Right, we used boxes. We bought garbage bags, and garbage bags, just for information, are not on that list right now. So garbage bags are going to be available. Right,
Okay.
We've always been able to buy a stack of garbage bags. They're relatively inexpensive, and put in our bins, and those are still going to be available at this point.
Okay.
Right. I know it's a concern. We've gotten to the reason why we use plastic bags for garbage is because we get so many of them. Yeah, we go into the supermarket and we're walking out with a dozen bags.
You only picked up 6
and we only yes, and we go home, and what do we do with all these? And they eventually become what we put our garbage in. If we think just a little bit, there are ways around it. We do what we used to do 10 years ago, before garbage bags became so, fragile and single use. Plastic that's only single use is not useful for us, because it has more devastating effects when it leaves our hands. So, it's just an addiction that we have, and we have to come to terms with that addiction that we have and really see the bigger picture. I'm so grateful for the opportunity to be here on Classic and GBN talking about this.
Thank you so much.
One of my biggest, I guess, it's not a pet peeve, but my biggest goals is to solicit the engagement of what we call the partners in the media. I grew up, I spent most of my working life as a journalist myself, and I've always seen a social responsibility that we have to not just get information, but to get, education out there. Even those media that focus on entertainment, there's a term that was coined a couple of years ago, edutainment is what the media is supposed to be doing. We have a responsibility. And so I'm calling on my media partners, my media friends, radio stations and television stations, and the newspapers, and the online blogs, and the people who are, we call them, public personalities of note, the musicians, the singers, the calypsonians, to get on board to help us with our health. Whenever there's a social movement that needs to happen, it's the people that make it happen. So although this is being led out front, and I appreciate the movement of the Ministry of Climate Resilience in this, really the people need to take charge. There is a plastic pollution problem. We have this slogan, we're known as Pure Grenada. Are we going to wait until tourists come here, they go to swim in Grenada's beach, and they get up out of the water and there's plastic all over them, and they start to complain, and the cruise ships stop coming, and people start to put on social media and so on, Grenada's waters are contaminated with plastic, which has happened in neighboring Caribbean countries. Other things like the other pollutants in the water. There's one country where sewage started bubbling up in the ocean on a beach, and so they started to, we have to respond. Knee-jerk reaction. But we have an opportunity to take this head on, not have a knee-jerk reaction, but to go at it. And go out front And so, I'm calling on the media and, the partners out there to really just step up to the plate and support this, this plastic-free initiative. It's going to be unfolding over the weeks and months, started with the styrofoam, but with the plastics in particular, and people have lots of questions. What about the plastic bottles? What about, different types of plastic bags? Why not the utensils? It's all coming. It's just because bit by bit in a way that's responsible. Some people will say it's not fast enough. Some people will say it's too fast.
Mm-hmm.
So the authorities have to play this balancing act, but it's happening, and I'm so grateful to be here to witness what Grenada is doing and leading in the Eastern Caribbean in this front, in really going after it in an effective way.
Right. Tell me about the Facebook Drive.
Oh, yes. So in a couple of days, there's going to be this Facebook campaign. Nothing happens unless it happens on Facebook.
True.
Right? So one of the things that's happening in different parts of the world is, and some governments are, and it depends on the culture of the people, some governments are, they just, they put in a ban, no plastic, this date, figure it out, right? Because it's the right thing to do, right? Some parts of the world, it's been really, really interesting what people, as a social movement, they're making a fun of what are they going to carry their groceries in. In Thailand, for example, this thing has been happening where people are showing up to shop with bird cages or, supermarket, clothes hampers or so on, right? So we're going to see how creative can we be in Grenada. So as we count down our 15 days, there's going to be a 5 crazy days of shopping competition in Grenada. And we will announce on Facebook, look out for it, which supermarkets are going to be participating, right? And if you can take a photo of yourself with what you think is the most outlandish, most creative, craziest alternative shopping bag, right? Or alternative to a shopping bag, and you get the most liked. There's going to be some prizes coming your way.
Eyeing that.
Yes.
Which Facebook page should we look for?
Look out for plastic-free shopping.
Plastic-free shopping.
Yeah, look out for the plastic-free shopping Facebook page, right? And it's going to be launched just before the 5-day countdown, right? And there'll be lots of information going out on Facebook leading up to it and on WhatsApp and so on. But those 5 days, we want to see how creative Grenadians can be in shopping receptacles. The craziest thing I saw, I don't want to give people ideas, but the craziest thing I saw was, those plastic cones that are used.
I was going to say that the traffic cones.
The traffic cones, right?
Yes, I saw that.
The guy had it upside down, filled with stuff. Just really, really interesting.
Well, Grenadians are kind of people in this, so I could just imagine.
I can just imagine. We take up anything and run.
Exactly. True.
What will we take up and go to the supermarket to shop with to get ourselves off of the plastic? Right. So let's choose to refuse plastic. And here's the thing, don't wait for the date. For those supermarkets out there, and the ban specifically talks about food, selling food. But the truth is there's a ban on importation of those. So eventually it will get out of the system everywhere. Hats off to those business places who might not be selling food, but are also going away from plastics and saying, hey, we're on board. We're choosing to refuse plastic as well. And if you're a really progressive person and you're thinking about your own health, you will decide, okay, let me figure out my shopping without plastic. I've seen quite a number of people do some innovative things. A couple of times I walked into supermarkets without my bag. And I just, someone was unpacking, some, tuna on a shelf and the boxes. I said, can I have the box? He said, go right ahead. I took the box to put my groceries in. I was good to go. Nice. I saw some students in one supermarket who walked in with a what was it? It was an old suitcase, an old carry-on suitcase. They dragged it to the supermarket, threw their stuff in, carried it to the counter, unloaded them, paid for them, put them back in, and went. Right. People walking with their backpacks. There's some really cute reusable bags coming out, not just the generic one that some supermarkets are using, but people have bags from different shopping outlets across the world, really nice bags that can carry lots of stuff. There's a big market for some. Grenada is very entrepreneurial. And there's a really big market for someone where people can come up with something that's really durable, really nice, really creative that people will want to walk with. What a great way to support sustainability in Grenada and make some money at the same time. Right. So let's change the conversation from what are we going to do about garbage, and let's think. If we're creative, we can really overcome it. We can change our habits. We can change what our children do. We can sustain pure Grenada. Right, and we can really continue to be that leading voice in environmental sustainability. Whether we like the government or not, it's what's happening. It's about protecting our health and the future of our country. So in 15 days, plastic-free shopping. I'm just so excited.
So am I. I'm glad.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Mr. Beal.
Yes.
I'm excited like you for 15 days to plastic-free shopping effective February 1st, 2020, and be prepared for the Facebook Drive, the most innovative grocery shopping holder.
5 crazy days of shopping. It's going to be coming. But don't wait for the date. That's what we're saying.
Choose to refuse.
Choose to refuse plastic. Walk with your reusable shopping bags today.
Amen. Thank you so much, guys. That will bring us to the end of the discussion this morning. Thank you again to Mr. Beadle for passing through. Keep it locked to Classic and the GBN. In just a few seconds, we join the BBC for the 8 a.m. newscast. Keep it locked to Classic and GBN.